So Zachary is here to help her put on that show. However, as you can see right here, it looks like Kiyoshi here is none too pleased. He saw them over there, doing their homework together, and he kind of wasn't all that jazzed about it. Hi everyone, it's Kechi, aka OBiGem. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Also the notification bell to be notified of all future videos. And if you like what you see, please do hit the like button so I know to keep making content like this. So we are back with another episode of Girl Hang Up Genki, and I do apologize for the delay. It's been a little bit since we had the last episode. I have been dealing with a lot in my personal life, and when it comes to filming this particular LP, I have to be really in it to make a good episode. So I just didn't want to force anything and really kind of take my time and not record it until I felt in the spirit to record it. So I am back with you guys today because I am in the spirit to record this so we can keep this story going. So we're with Hana. She's at Windenburg Global right now, and as you can see, she is in the middle of a conversation. So what you guys don't know is at the end of last episode, after I stopped recording, Hana got back from the gym from her club relatively late, and as you know, she kind of hasn't been truthful with Megumi when it comes to her club situation. Megumi thinks that she's going to cram school, and that's kind of what she agreed to as far as Hana having after school activities, and she said no to Hana starting her own Young Adventurers Club or anything of that nature. But Hana kind of used that as a way to kind of use that to sneak around and kind of have a club anyway and just not be all the way truthful about what that club's about. So Hana got back really late after doing her club activities, and Megumi was none too pleased. She's like, why are you so late? I'm not understanding. And Hana's like, look, the reason why I'm so late is because I've been having trouble in school, so I had to stay late and study in cram school. Megumi kind of wasn't really all the way buying it, so she's like, I don't know about all that. That doesn't seem like it's truthful to me. So in kind of like a fit of panic, Hana's like, oh no, it is true, and to prove it, I was assigned a tutor by my cram school instructor to kind of help me with the subjects I'm having trouble with. You did say that it was very important for me to stay on top of my studies. Should I follow in the footsteps of the Ito family spouses and support Kiyoshi by going to business school and getting into the business field? So Megumi's like, well, I'm still not sure. This kind of sounds a little bit suspect. And Hana's like, no, actually, in fact, my tutor actually is going to be tutoring me tomorrow, and he's actually going to be coming back by the house with me, so you can really see that I do have a tutor. And so obviously that's not true because she's not in cram school, but Hana's like, look, I need to kind of figure out a way to finesse this to make this look real. So she actually cornered Zachary Chestnut at the end of school, and she kind of has a proposition for him. So right now you can see that Zachary here looks a little bit uneasy about what's going on here. He's kind of just been eyeing Hana in the background, and he thinks that she's pretty interesting. There's just something magnetic he finds about Hana, and he's been interested in learning more about her, but he's just been a little bit shy and nervous to ask. Likewise, Hana's kind of been noticing him noticing her, and she doesn't know quite what to think about it yet. She's like, he just seems a little bit funny, and I don't know, like, it's just weird that he is always kind of watching me, and I don't know, maybe I can actually use his apparent interest in me to my advantage. So Hana kind of cornered him and is about to ask him a favor right now. So Hana's like, hi Zachary, how are you today? He's like, I'm cool. And she's like, that's great. I know this is out of the blue, but I kind of have a quick favor to ask you. He's like, sure, what favor? And she's like, would you be interested in coming back to my place and tutoring me? And Zachary's like, I mean, sure, but you don't really seem like you need the help really in school. you do pretty decent work. And she's like, I know, but don't ask any questions. I'm kind of in a bind, and it would help me out quite a lot if you just agreed to come back to my place and put on the pretenses of tutoring me. And he's like, well, I mean, I can, do that, but this is gonna seem, well, and he's kind of flipping over his words a little bit, and Hana's like, spit it out, what's going on? So Zachary's like, well, I mean, here goes. Honestly, I've been struggling a bit in the Young Adventurers Club. I don't know if you've noticed. And she's like, yeah, I kind of have. You're kind of pretty terrible. And he's all like, well, yeah, but I was wondering, you don't have to say yes or anything, but, as a favor, would you maybe consider, helping me as far as getting better at being athletic and doing the mountain climbing and all of that in the club? And Hana's like, but that's kind of what the club's all about. I would assume you joining it would mean that that's something that you've got some sort of aptitude. And he's like, honestly, I really don't, and that's part of the reason why I joined. I want to get better at those things, but as you can see, I'm kind of a failure, and I would love it if you would just consider helping me out. And even though Zachary already said yes to helping Hana out with her situation, she kind of, at this point, feels bad for him. She's like, he is kind of really pathetic when it comes to doing the training we've been doing in the club, so I guess I don't mind helping him out with this. So Hana's like, yeah, I guess I can help you with that if you need help with it. It would be nice if you were a little less pathetic at doing that. And he's like, well, that's great. Thank you so much for helping me. I guess I'll meet you back at your place afterwards. And she's like, of course, yeah. And so Zachary will be coming back with her to the Ito household to help, with this whole tutoring facade. And we'll see how that goes when we get back to the Ito compound. So Hana and Zachary made it back to the Ito compound, and they're over here doing homework together. Of course, Hana wanted to make it look good and definitely make it look like Zachary is tutoring her, even though she really doesn't need the help. But of course she wants to make the pretenses look as though, yeah, I definitely have a tutor and I'm definitely going to cram school. So Zachary is here to help her put on that show. However, as you can see right here, it looks like Kiyoshi here is none too pleased. He saw them over there, doing their homework together, and he kind of wasn't all that jazzed about it. He's all like, why is she here at the house with this guy? I didn't realize that her tutor was going to be a male. She needs help with homework. I have already graduated from high school. I could help her with that. Is it really necessary for her to have a tutor? And Hana can kind of feel a little bit of the intensity of Kiyoshi kind of just like eyeing them. She's like, I'm just gonna try and ignore this, but it's like, I really wish he wasn't just kind of glaring us down right now. It's making me feel very uncomfortable. And Zachary can kind of feel it too. He's like, I'm not really sure why this guy is eyeing us like this, but Zachary's got like a lot going on as far as him being here. So Hana never really told anybody in the club, where she lives. They all know that she lives in Mount Komorebi, but they don't know that she lives with the Itos. And the Itos are kind of a big deal. Even across the pond outside of Mount Komorebi, people know about them because they're pretty famous. So that's part of the reason why Hana has chosen not to tell anybody that she lives with them, because she doesn't want to get swept up in that type of fame or people like thinking anything about it. And it's not just that, it's also the fact that if she tells people that she lives with the Itos, then she'll also have to tell them that she is engaged to Kiyoshi, and she doesn't want anybody to know that, mostly because she, it's not really what she wants, and she wants to be able to just like live a regular high school life without any of that baggage. So she hasn't told anybody. But her having Zachary here, she kind of knew that, okay, he's gonna find out about this, but I'm gonna just have to swear him to secrecy that he doesn't tell anybody that I live with the Itos, and or know these circumstances by which that I'm living with the Itos. So upon him coming here, she's like, look, I'm just gonna let you know right now, this is the Itos house. You know, some things happen. I am staying with them. That's really all you need to know about the situation. Please don't tell anybody else. And because she did promise to help Zachary with him getting his fitness level up, he's like, look, I won't tell anybody, but you know, that's kind of like a big deal. Like the Itos, like, wow. And she's like, I know, but like try to like keep your starstruckness to a minimum, and again, don't tell anybody that I live with them. So Zachary's kind of like really still kind of grappling with the fact, like, I can't believe that she lives with the Itos. That's crazy. But I'm gonna go ahead and have, I think Kiyoshi is wanting to kind of break up whatever is going on here, so he's gonna go ahead and rudely introduce himself to Zachary here, because you know he's not really all that jazzed about the fact that he's here, and he's gonna go ahead and just be rude. He's like, you know, who is this guy? And their first impressions of each other are quite interesting. Let's go ahead and we're gonna take a look at that. So it looks like his first impression of Zachary is that there's just something about Zachary that seems to vibe in a way that appeals to Kiyoshi. So even though the fact that he's like not thrilled about the fact that he's over here tutoring Hana, he is still a little bit, it seems, impressed by him. Let's go ahead and see what Zachary's impressions are of Kiyoshi. He thinks that Kiyoshi's pretty cool, which actually checks out because, you know, he's still in awe of the fact that he's in the Itos household, because he knows that they're kind of like big deal like sports stars. So he's all like, yeah, he's kind of cool, even though he kind of was pretty rude to me. But yeah, as you can see, Kiyoshi is not having it. He's like, okay, dude, like, what are you really about here? So, but he's gonna keep it cool and calm and collected, and Hana's just gonna ignore the fact that Kiyoshi's being pretty mean. But I think Megumi kind of heard the commotion out, so she's gonna come out and just kind of check that out. I'm gonna have her come out from here and just see, because she did hear Hana come in. She's like, you know, Hana did say that she was going to have her tutor over today. We'll see if that's actually a thing. Let me come out and check on what's going on over here. We're just gonna have her then say hello very curtly and be like, hello sir, what, young man, what is your name? Why are you here in my home? And Zachary's like, oh, I'm Zachary. I am a classmate. I am, you know, Hana's tutor. And she's all like, oh yes, she's mentioned you. So you're tutoring her, and you're gonna be tutoring her in the cram school. And he's like, yeah, you know, there are a couple subjects that Hana just, you know, wanted to kind of make sure she was on top of, so that's why I'm here. And so Megumi is kind of eyeing him and being a bit suspicious still of whether he's a tutor, but she's like, I guess, you know, she did produce somebody here to help her with schoolwork, so I guess this must be him. So, you know, Megumi's going to let this one slide this time, but, you know, I think she's going to go ahead and just really get in a quick jab at Hana, because, you know, she's still, you know, just a little bit, she's just a bit put off by how everything is going on with her, and you know, her coming home late from club kind of put them on. So I'm trying to find a mean interaction that's a little bit not as cruel, because I think that Megumi's the type of person that is nice nasty, so I don't know that she would do something like insult her face or any of that. I guess we'll go with this. Call her a plebeian, which is, I guess, that checks out, because she's always going on and on about how Hana's, you know, a bit, her commoner ways makes her, you know, lack couth, so maybe she would say that to Hana. So she's like, well, you know, keep up with your studies, you know, you don't want to get left behind and be, you know, like all the other commoners, Hana. Like, you've got to keep up. You want to be seen as somebody on a level to be with an Ito, so I guess keep up with your studies. So Megumi's gonna go ahead and go back to her study and just be out of the way, because she just doesn't really like being in Hana's presence. Just being around Hana, she just finds it highly irritating, and she's not really sure why. Just being by her just really it irks her. So she's gonna go ahead and head back to her study and, you know, do some writing on her laptop. But I'm gonna have Nanami come down because she kind of wants to talk to her mom about a few things. And, you know, when she came in, she saw Hana. She saw her with her supposed tutor, and she's really kind of been keeping an eye on Hana in the background. She's all like, she's a little bit of a double agent, Nanami, because even though she said that she wants to be like real sisters with Hana, she still very much cares about her family. Nanami is the type of girl where she yearns to be the perfect daughter, but she kind of has like a little bit of a middle child syndrome about her. Even though the Itos only have 2 kids, Nanami has always been the one that's kind of been like overlooked because Kiyoshi's the heir, right? So she's constantly trying to do well and do things to be acknowledged by her parents because she's really not as acknowledged as Kiyoshi. But, you know, she kind of gets ignored and left out. So she has like this need to kind of be included and liked and involved, but it's kind of made it so she plays both sides. So of course she'd like to be friends with Hana, but in her mind, being favored by her parents is more important. But there's no ignoring the fact that Megumi's not been pleased with Hana, and she's just not been embracing her. And so it's made her suspicious of Hana, because she's like, I wonder why mom just doesn't like her like that. And she's been eyeing her a lot, and she kind of was eyeing her when Hana had the conversation with Megumi on New Year's about doing the club, and she's noticed how Hana's been kind of buttering her up more, despite the fact that she's being very defiant before. So it's made her again more suspicious of Hana, and she's like, I wonder what that's about. And she's like, I don't know how much I can trust her right now, but I know that, you know, I love my mother, and she's got issues with her, so maybe I should bring something up to her. Nanami's coming to Megumi, and she's like, yeah, mom, how are you? And Megumi's like, I'm fine, dear. How was school? And she's like, great. I just, you know, wondered if you noticed, you know, Hana when she came in with this tutor. And she's like, yeah, she mentioned him before, that she was having this tutor, and, you know, I didn't think that she would produce the tutor because it seemed kind of suspicious, but hey, here he is, so who am I to you know, complain? She's like, yeah, but did you notice how much it was kind of rubbing Kiyoshi the wrong way? And she's all like, was it? And she's like, yeah, it was rubbing him quite the wrong way. Megumi's all like, well, I didn't really quite notice that. Like, was it bad? And she's like, he just seemed highly irritated. I don't know, I think maybe the tutor might have designs on Hana that makes Kiyoshi feel a bit threatened, that he might be interested in her in more than like a friendly way. And she's like, well, that's, you know, not really ideal. We definitely don't, you know, want anybody making Kiyoshi feel threatened. So it's good for him to feel definitely comfortable in their relationship. So thank you for letting me know about this, Nanami. I'll have a conversation with her. You know, we want to make sure that Kiyoshi is secure. That's most important. She's like, of course, mother. I just thought that I'd bring it to your attention because it bothered me. And she's like, no, you're right. I'll definitely have a talk with Hana. You know, if that boy out there is, you know, getting a bit too friendly, we definitely want to put a stop to that. I'll definitely talk to her about it. So, you know, Nanami's feeling as though she did a good job and that she's definitely being favored by her mother right now, and that's exactly what she wants. And she's like, don't worry, mother, I'll keep an eye on Hana too and make sure that she realizes again what her place is here. So Hana's just about done with her little tutoring session with Zachary, and she thinks it's gone well because, of course, Megumi saw them studying together, so she's like, great, you know, I'll definitely have her off my back now because, you know, I produced a tutor, so she'll definitely realize or think that the cram school thing is a real thing. And she kind of is about to tell Zachary, thanks, you know, I think it's good enough for you to go home now. And she kind of just glances back and she's like, you know, even though Zachary is kind of funny looking and, you know, he's not really that great at athletics or any of that, you know, there's something about him that's a little bit cute. And she's thinking about it and she's like, oh, that's like silly of me, like Zachary is like, there's nothing really that cute about him, and especially as far as it comes to, you know, how cool he is, he's not really that cool. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of Kiyoshi, but technically speaking, Kiyoshi's definitely cooler than Zachary is. He's also probably more attractive than Zachary, but I don't know, there's just something about him. Meanwhile, Zachary is feeling, you know, a little bit closer to Hana right now. I'm going to keep his thoughts a little bit under wraps here because there's more to his story that I want to kind of explore with you guys in the next episode. But he's definitely feeling some feels, if you know what I mean. And so I'm going to go ahead and have Hana go ahead and, you know, thank him for helping her with this and kind of send him off to go home. So Hana and Zachary are on the front porch of the Ito compound right now. She's about to see him off and really just thank him for helping her out today. She's like, thank you, Zachary, for agreeing to tutor me or pretend to tutor me today. It really helped out a lot. And he's like, no problem, you know, as long as you still promise to help me out with, you know, the sports and athletics type things. And she's like, yeah, yes, definitely, of course, you definitely earned it. It's like, tomorrow after school, after the rest of the club leaves, I'll definitely give you some additional pointers. He's like, that's great, like I'm looking forward to it. And she's like, yeah, you know, of course, but, you know, have a good night, Zachary. I really appreciate it again for helping me. He's like, of course, I'll see you tomorrow at school. So Hana's feeling a little bit floaty here because, you know, she's developed a little bit of some feelings for Zachary there, and don't mind, let's just say Zachary came in to say goodbye to the rest of the Itos. I did have her say goodbye. I don't know why he came back in. Don't ask questions. But this actually made for a good screenshot moment. I will take it. But, you know, it's funny because she doesn't want to admit that she's feeling anything more than friendly. Like I said, in her mind, she's rationalized. She didn't have any reason to have any type of butterflies in her stomach when it comes to Zachary. But, like I said, little does she know, Zachary has some feelings brewing of his own, so it's not maybe just her. Who knows? But you guys will find out more in the next episode. So Zachary has left and Hana has gotten ready for bed. Most of the house is kind of winding down for the night, but Megumi has asked Hana to her room because she wants to have a conversation with her. Hana's still feeling a little bit floaty right now from her little tutoring session, so as you can see, she's a little bit flushed in the face, but she's like, I wonder what Megumi might want. So she's, you know, showed up in her room. She's all like, you know, what's going on, mother? Like, what can I do for you? And, you know, Megumi's gonna go ahead and kind of let her know what's what. And of course, you know, Hana is kind of thinking, you know, I've got this pretty figured out. I've got, you know, Megumi, she's kind of wrapped around my finger right now. I figured out this whole tutoring thing. I've got her absolutely buffaloed. So, you know, I think I'm good. I'll just continue to butter up and call her mother and we should be good. But little does she know, Megumi's about to kind of lay down the law a little bit on her. So Megumi's like, you know, it was very nice that tutor of yours decided to come over and help you out with your studies. You know, it takes a lot for someone to want to take the time out to kind of help someone who's being a bit, you know, slower with the studies. But I did want to let you know that I don't know that it's a good idea for you to have that boy over again. And Hana's like, I don't understand. Why not? You said that you wanted to see the tutor. She's like, I do, but I did quickly notice that it did seem to bother Kiyoshi that he was here. So I think that it might be a good idea if we kind of respect Kiyoshi and just, don't have that boy over again. It's very important that Kiyoshi feels secure in your relationship, and I don't think that child being here really made Kiyoshi feel secure, and that should definitely be a priority of yours to make sure that Kiyoshi feels secure. So, you can have this tutor help you out at cram school before you leave the school, but I really don't want to see that boy at our home ever again. So Hana's kind of, she's not really great or feeling great about hearing this. She's like, I don't understand. I thought Megumi was cool with this. She told me that she wanted to see that I had a tutor, which is why I brought him here, and now she's over here telling me that she doesn't ever want to see Zachary over here ever again because Kiyoshi's feeling jealous or something. And so Hana's like, okay, mother, I guess I won't ever invite him over again. I didn't realize it was an issue. She's like, yes, you really must be a little bit more perceptive with these things. You're about to be Kiyoshi's wife, so it's very important that these things be a priority to you. And I just want to reinforce that if there is anything going on with this boy, and I trust that there is not, but if there is, that you should have some discretion about it, because after all, at the end of the day, you will be Kiyoshi's wife. And so any other type of schoolgirl relationships you have, those things can't really be a thing. We are the Itos, we have a reputation to uphold. It would be not in the best taste if that was something to get out. I'm pretty sure that'd be very embarrassing for you and your family if it somehow got out that you decide to squander such an opportunity as being my son's wife. So that's definitely something that you need to consider and keep in mind, and not do anything that will embarrass the family. I trust you will do that, right? And Hana is kind of seething under the surface, and she feels like definitely Megumi's jabbing at her right now and making it seem as though now that she has the upper hand with Hana under her thumb, and Hana is just not a fan of that. She's definitely rebellious, and she's very independent, and she's, strong-willed, so this isn't really a position she likes being in, feeling like she's under somebody else's thumb, but she has to fake it right now and be like, yes, mother, I understand. There's nothing going on. He's just my tutor, and again, if Kiyoshi's not a fan of it, I won't bring him back over to the house again. She's like, yes, I feel like you understand me just fine. So why don't you run along and, brush your teeth and get ready for bed. You definitely want to make sure you get some rest so you can continue to stay on top of your studies and not continue to fall behind. So Megumi and Hana really don't have a great relationship right now. I did just get like a notification that they definitely have like bitterness about each other, which, pretty on point with where they are right now. But, Hana is going to try and at least fake as much as she can fake right now to get through this. But she's gonna go ahead and say, like, yes, mother, I will run along and brush my teeth and get ready for bed. And again, that he won't be here ever again, I promise. It's funny because it seems as though our dear little devilish Nanami here is having a just as planned moment here, because it just seems like she's being a little bit underhanded. Nanami is just she's a little bit underhanded here. She was listening by the staircase, just kind of like listening in, because, Megumi wasn't really all that quiet when she was having this conversation with Hana. She was just kind of like overhearing. She's like, yeah, it looks like mom really put her in her place. And, it seems as though me telling her that kind of added some points in the column with mother, and that's definitely good because it seems as though that'll help with me in being a little bit more favored in the house, and that's what I want. So we're gonna actually end it here, you guys. Let me know your thoughts about Hana and Zachary. What do you think is going on there? Do you think there are some romance brewing on both sides? It seems as though Hana is a little bit being in denial about it, but there's definitely some floaty feelings going on there if we have her nude bust to go by. And what about Nanami, you guys? Are you guys shocked to find out that Nanami is not really that good of a girlfriend to Hana here? Like, she's being a little bit of a double agent. What do you think will come of that? I would be happy to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. But as always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and of course, stay dazzled. I will see you in the next one. Bye.